All right, Steph. What is it really like to see Chris Paul? Well, to be scrimmaging with him, to be talking to him on the phone as a teammate, to have him here? Does it hit you that this is a real thing yet, or has it all kind of sunk in that he's here?
Yeah, it's sunk in for sure. We got through all the pleasantries in the summer. We got together multiple times with the whole team. Definitely is weird. Obviously, you go through battles for years and you kind of acknowledge the awkwardness of it at first, but the fact that he is who he is in terms of his career, the way that he's uh, competed at the highest level for so long, the fact that he's motivated to help us do what we need to do this year. The way that he's approached everything has been awesome. So there's probably still be moments when you get to closer to the games and regular season where you see him out there and it's like, oh yeah, he's with us. But I think the bigger picture is that he's approaching everything the right way, and excited to have him. Excited to see what changes and ways we can adapt to him in the lineup and different rotations that we can put out there. So he just knows how to play basketball. We know that, and excited to put it together.
Steph, over here, Carlo Letourneau, San Francisco Chronicle. How does Clay look to you this summer, and how do you kind of feel about where he's at entering the season?
He looks great. I know it's mostly just comparing to his experience last summer, and I think it's night and day different. Even the way he's talking about the way he approached it, and the progress that he's gone through this year or this off season, the confidence he has in himself and his body to hit the ground running. He was starting tomorrow in practice and leading through training camp and preseason. So it's always a great sign when he's locked in mentally and physically, and to take advantage of the off season. It's hard work. Like, it's a lot of reps and a lot of commitment to the unglamorous stuff that we have to do in the off season to prepare your body, and the fact that he's speaking that game and saying he put the time in, and it's showing in the way that we've seen him on the court, makes a big difference.
Hey, Steph, to your left. Have you thought, or have you ever played with a point guard like Chris, and just what do you think that playing alongside him is going to do for you?
I mean, now, Jason Richards back at Davidson College was like the first point guard that I got to play with that was kind of pass first and a playmaker, distributor, and I played off of him. That was just my first 2 years in college, and then I was a go-to point ever since. So I never really had a guy that necessarily was with CP's skill set and the way that he's elevated teams throughout his whole career. But the beauty in the way that me and Clay can play off the ball, and we had Jared Jack for a while in the sense of he had the ball in his hands a lot, but obviously CP's a Hall of Famer. We know just the talent that he is. It will give us different looks, and it should be pretty easy to, whether it's from whatever lineup you're out there with, or from possession to possession, who's initiating the offense, for us to kind of work off of each other. Because in theory, again, we all understand the game and know spacing and know how to cut, how to play off of each other. Obviously, our skill set to be able to shoot will open up hopefully a lot of lanes. We got to figure it out defensively and how we want to match up and all those type of things. But it should be a good challenge.
Hey, Steph. Colin Ward-Henninger, CBS Sports. You've obviously been through a lot of NBA off seasons. Are you a guy that likes to find one routine and kind of stick with it because it works, or do you like to change things up to keep it fresh over the summer?
It's a little bit of both. Change of scenery is always nice. I have my guys that I work out with, and I have for over a decade. So you evolve in terms of your strategy and what you're trying to accomplish. I think the deeper you get into your career, you realize you have to do a lot more a little bit often, if that makes sense, in terms of I didn't take too much time off after the Lakers series, but it's not like you're killing yourself every day, 7-hour, 8-hour days. It's mostly just trying to stay as consistent as possible so that you never really get out of shape. You kind of just always stay prime but still find ways to get rest. But it's nice to shock the system a little bit with trying new things and new approaches to your on-court workouts, stuff that you do in the weight room. To see, you know what your bread and butter is of what works in terms of your routine, but you kind of have to listen to your body too to know what it needs, and that's the challenge of trying to extend your prime for as long as you can, and being honest with yourself about what work needs to go into your routine to prepare yourself for a season.
One quick one, and then a Warriors one. I think LeBron and KD today committed to the Olympics. I know sounds like you were part of those conversations at least at some point in the summer. Are you ready, to commit to the Olympics yet, or do you know?
I've talked to some people about the opportunity, and definitely if all things stay the same, I want to be, playing. It's the one thing I haven't done, and I also understand, the opportunity for Team USA to kind of reassert yourselves as dominant in the world and all that type of stuff. So definitely want to be there. Definitely want to be on the team, and hopefully things line up that way where we're all there.
And then Warriors-wise, just, you guys, it wasn't a full roster reconstruction this summer, but obviously you guys tweaked around the edges. And Chris, just what are your general thoughts on what you guys are bringing this year?
I mean, there's always excitement because as players, that's what we control, is the ability to have confidence in yourselves and what who's in the locker room and what we all bring, and the fact that we all can complement each other, and that confidence, I think, goes a long way. We have a certain way of playing that we know has led to success, and we want to continue to double down on that. But I think we're all in the position to know we have a lot to figure out in terms of what those new looks, like CP, what Dario brings, Corey Joseph, guys that have been around the league for a long time and, again, are veterans, know how to play, true professionals, how we all gel and what that, chemistry looks like when it comes to actually, in between the lines. So training camp, we say it every year, and for different reasons. This year is just because we have new faces that are going to be important pieces to our actual rotation on a nightly basis. But training camp is going to be huge for us to make sure we're giving ourselves a good chance to get off to a great start. Because compared to last year, that was a big hurdle to overcome. Our road woes that we had to start the season, and the difference between being 18-2 2 years ago and where we were last year. We like that the former experience a little bit better.
Hey, Steph, Dalton Johnson, NBC Sports Bay Area. Otto Porter Jr. was such an important piece for you guys 2 years ago. Can you see Dario having a similar impact, and what might excite you the most about playing with Dario?
I mean, they're two different guys, and I don't ever I hate the comparison, but that is a role that you need in terms of a guy that can space the floor, a guy that can obviously knock down open shots. He presents a bit of size for us as well. And he also he knows how to play in kind of a motion-style offense. He's doing it a little bit in his international play this summer, but even back in Phoenix when he was there with CP, talked to him about the way that he sees the game. It's very similar to the way that we play. So we were playing pickup the other day, and somebody threw him the ball, and he did an immediate DHO with me, and I didn't have to say anything, and it was like one of those pieces of just playing good basketball that he figured out and knows without having, you have to tell him. So that's a good head start on a role that we really need, because he understands, just how to play. And when you can shoot and you know how to play, and you feel a positional need for us, that's huge for us.
Steph, Chris Alvarez from ABC7 back here. Chris Paul.
Congratulations, brother.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Chris just joked that he saw himself in the Warriors uniform for the first time during a State Farm commercial.
He did. He said what?
He said he the first time he put the Warriors uniform on was in a State Farm commercial.
Oh, is that why he was in the neighborhood, that street? I was trying to figure it out too. I'm like, where is he at? Okay, it makes sense now.
Real quick, it's more about you, but real quick, what do you think of him in that uniform?
He looks good.
Yeah.
He looks good. I like it as opposed to the opposition for sure.
That all being said, you've played your whole career in one uniform. how important you love history of the game. How important is it for you to have done everything in a Warriors uniform and continue and finish as a Warrior for life, hopefully with Draymond and Clay as you guys keep going for championships?
I've said it before. It means everything. I'm in my 15th year. No need for a change of scenery at this point. So just a matter of, like you said, being in a position where you can. It's not a ceremonial thing. It's we're really here to win, and I'm doing everything I can to continue to be a leader on that front, perform at a high level, and put ourselves in a position to be championship contenders. You know, you can't control everything. You can't guarantee anything in this league, and every team's trying to, get better, and that's the nature of the competition. But if I can keep doing that every year and, like you said, still represent this organization, all that we've built, it's a dream come true.
Hey, Steph. It's Felicia Purcell for Sports in the Bay. I was curious what sparked your interest in the Mac Dre documentary, and secondly, can you talk about some of your favorite moments, not family involved, over the summer that you enjoyed the most? Because I saw you on Hot Ones, I saw you in Toby's video. I mean, you were really busy. So back to the Mac Dre question first.
I mean, having played in Oakland for 10 years and understood the history of that city, obviously from the music industry, the rap game, the culture that exists there. Mac Dre's story is a special one. It kind of embodies a lot of what the spirit of Oakland is. Obviously, I never met him, but things that we're doing in the media space to be able to tell the stories that need to be told and be a part of projects that speak to individuals that change the game. That is what I'm about. So we're just given a platform to hopefully tell his story in the most meaningful, impactful way with his family, everybody that knew him, worked with him, people that were influenced by him. So creating that platform and that opportunity for that story to be told. It was an easy one, and I know looking forward to the project whenever it's ready to come out. And the summer was special, kind of in the same vein. Basketball's opened a lot of doors, and I had some amazing experiences on the golf course with family, traveling, all that, all the while, making sure I'm preparing for this season. So a lot of it is kind of exposed for the world. Some of it wasn't, but I had a lot of fun, and summer's over now.
Steph, obviously, Draymond signs the extension. He's going to be here for a long time. You're going to under contract for a long time, but Steve and Clay are both entering their final years. I know there's been a lot of confidence expressed that they will be here, but how important is it to you to see those guys sign for long term, relatively soon?
So obviously, if it was my decision, they'd be here forever. Like, that's part of what we've built and what confidence that we have of what's ahead of us. So I know how the business works, and timing of everything matters. Contracts, negotiations, and conversations can get a little murky at times, but I think at the end of the day, take Draymond's situation, for example. How many different narratives came out of that for the last 2 years of what was going to happen with him and where he was going to be, and is this his last year and all that. Try not to get too caught up in the day-to-day of that, and just understand how much he means to this organization, and thankfully he got it done. I hope the same and know the same will happen with Steve and with Clay. But again, I would say our job is to go out and make that an easy decision. And so that's what we're about.
Steph, over here. Draymond said that there's a different sense of urgency in an offseason after a championship year versus a non-championship year. How did you feel that sense of urgency heading into this offseason, or a difference in urgency?
You have 4 extra weeks to work with, and you're watching basketball, and you're not used to that. And usually, if you're in the finals and however it plays out, that's the end of it. And when you're watching it, it just gives you a different motivation and different fuel to the fire. To me, that's really all you really need. That's that's the start of the journey of, okay, well, how are you approaching this off season? What's the goal? Not just individually, how you're preparing yourself mentally and physically, but as a team, like how are we making the most of the time? We got together 3 times, I think, this summer as a group, played pickup, hung out, tried to create a bond that can, transition into training camp and the rest of the season. And hopefully that makes a difference with how we start the year. But trying to do everything you can to control the controllables, if you will, on what will put us in a position to be successful this year, and knowing what we do is hard. There's a high expectation standard that we've set over the course of these years, and we have to continue to try to live up to it.
Hey, Steph. Damon Bruce in the back. How you doing, man? Congratulations on the hole-in-one.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Callaway's worked for you in Dubai?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a little muggy, but we got it done.
Incorporating rookies has been a challenge playing with the style of the Warriors. Can you tell us a little bit about how you'll help Brandon Pajemski and Trace Jackson-Davis find minutes this year to help you guys out?
The message is always like, your opportunities, you don't know when they're going to come, and to be in a position where you can be prepared for that opportunity and understand what impacts winning basketball. Like, it's a hard lesson to learn as a young guy, because you have a certain way of, a certain style of play maybe that got you to this point. You have a certain way of seeing the game that you're comfortable with, but you might be asked to do something entirely different. Pajemski was a go-to scorer and kind of Mr. Do-It-All for Santa Clara last year. He might be just asked to, lock up 94 feet and just turn a guy, 4 or 5 times for 2 to 3 minutes a game, or he might be asked to do more. He might be asked to, show up in practice and challenge us to, get better. Like, whatever he's asked to do, you have to be able to respond to that. And it's not glamorous at times. It's not easy, but it sets you up for the next stage of increasing your role. And if you buy into it, and coach is very straightforward when it comes to that, that's the situation. And then the league will reward you in the long run. So hopefully, whatever that is, they can buy into it and understand it will help us win. And when we win, everybody wins.
Stephen, how you doing?
What's up, Monty?
Yeah. Draymond was in here earlier, and he was talking about how, Chris is one of those guys that on the other team, he's one of the hated guys on the other team. On this team, he's the hated guy. You got 2 of those guys on one team now. Can that work in a positive way for the team's general intensity over the course of a season, having 2 guys that bring it like that?
For sure. It'll help us internally, understanding, like, the vibe in practice, the sense of accountability, like, let's make sure all the energy is put towards winning. And then if those 2 guys can focus that energy on the court when it comes to games on doing exactly that, like making everybody hate them but making us love them, like, I know that they can, keep each other accountable to that energy as well. Like, that's going to make a huge difference and give them an edge and give us an edge. So the one thing is, I know they've been pretty open about talking about it to each other, like how they're going to try to help each other out in that front, because neither one of them is not going to stop talking. So that's a good thing as long as it's channeled in the right direction.
The other question I have is, you had a relatively long offseason compared to previous off seasons. How do you balance training, doing what you want to do away from training, and not overtraining? How do you find that balance?
Experience helps, just because you know how to listen to your body. And I think the first thing is you just need a strategy going in. And it's not just me looking at a piece of paper, looking at the calendar, saying, this is what I need to do. I have some experts in the fields that can kind of guide you in terms of what boxes need to be checked throughout the off season, so that you do exactly what you just said. Know you're prepared, but don't need to feel like you're in the gym, 8 hours a day, which, might have some diminished returns on that front. So it's a little bit of both, of understanding what you're trying to get out of the summer, and talking to the right people to help design what that looks like, and then staying accountable to that process throughout the summer, knowing those are the hardest moments when you get a little bit further away from the season, but so far away from when training camp starts. Those days, middle of July, August, are hard because it kind of gets a little monotonous, and the distractions of the fun of the summer can kind of creep in too. So you kind of have to have the balance of everything.
Hi, Steph. Do you feel like a youngin' with two teammates now in their late 30s? A little bit.
Wait, who's the CP and who? Oh, Rudy. That's right. Two guys that I've known for a very long time, and I've never seen them as like, they've been older, bro, but never seen them like that. So it's kind of weird. I've known both of them since I was in high school, so it's gonna be fun to fight Father Time for as long as we can, but not talk about it too much because we still feel young.
But and Rudy, what can Rudy do for Kuminga, and what kind of opportunities do you see for Kuminga, going into this season, and maybe being able to lean on Rudy's experience a little bit?
I think JK is going to help himself by doing everything he knows he needs to do. There's no secret anymore. It's just, going out and competing at a high level, using his athleticism, his understanding of the game, and what these last 3 years have shown him to say, okay, it's time for me to take that next step. There's going to be opportunity for him. Like, there's a lot of, guys, Rudy, what he learned from Andre last year, the last 2 years, to you go down the list in our locker room, he could find something to pick from anybody in terms of perspective. But all that matters is him going out, having confidence in himself. He's put in a lot of work this summer. Super excited for him to come in and find his way and do it consistently. And I know everybody has confidence in him to do that. So it's not just on one person for him to tap into. It's for him to kind of just step into his role and do it to the best of his ability.